Okay, there are 8 wizarding schools. I want to read you not a long description, but a short description of each of them. And I want you to pick which school you would go to other than Hogwarts. I'm going to read you 7 of them because Hogwarts is the last one. So here they are. This is what I gathered, some information that I gathered. Beauxbaton is the first one. It's in France. It is founded sometime before 1290. Beauxbaton had many noteworthy students over the years. The Palace of Beauxbaton was a beautiful chateau surrounded by majestic gardens and fountains magically created out of the surrounding mountains. The school looked very impressive despite having stood for 700 years. Education at Beauxbaton's was of a similar caliber to education at Hogwarts in Scotland. However, there were differences, such as Beauxbaton students taking their equivalent of ordinary wizarding levels in the 6th year rather than the 5th year like their Hogwarts counterparts. That's really the main difference between Beauxbaton and Hogwarts. Now, there's one in Brazil called Castle Bruxo. I'm definitely pronouncing these wrong. But Castle Bruxo was a Brazilian wizarding school located in the mid-Amazon rainforest in northern Brazil. It accepted students from all over South America. It was an imposing square edifice of golden rock, often compared to a temple. The school was bewitched to appear as ruins to muggles, and both building and grounds were protected by Kaipora, which I don't know what that is. I should have looked that up. Castle Bruxo students were especially advanced in herbology and magizoology, and the school offered a very popular exchange programs for students from wizarding European schools. Durmstrang is in just the north. That's all we know where it is. It's one of the 3 largest wizarding schools in Europe, and Durmstrang did not admit Muggle-borns. But certain students might not necessarily have shared this prejudice. Durmstrang was notorious for acceptance of the dark arts and was known to have educated and later expelled. I am not going to say this, actually.
I knew it.
It really is insignificant, but I'm just going to hold on.
Wow.
Oh.
Doesn't matter that much, but
I like it.
Tiny spoiler for endgame stuff, so I will hold on to that. Ilvermorny, which we've been over, USA, it's in Massachusetts, located in Mount Greylock. Among the students were Native Americans of the Wampanoag and the Nagasaret tribes, who shared their knowledge of magic in return for being taught the technique involved with wand work. Therefore, Native American magic became involved in the foundation of Ilvermorny. As might be expected of a school part founded by a no-mage, Ilvermorny had the reputation of being one of the most democratic, least elitist schools in the great wizarding world. Students were also well-versed in the use of a wand. There's one in Russia called Koldovstoritz. I am not pronouncing that right. And this is the only description that we have of them. They were a Russian wizarding school. It was one of the 11 schools registered with the International Confederation of Wizards, and students from this school played a version of Quidditch where they flew on entire uprooted trees instead of broomsticks. Oh my God. There's 2 more. There is Mahou Takoro in Japan. It was a Japanese wizarding school on the topmost point of a volcanic island of Minami Iwo Jima. This school had the reputation of having an impressive academic prowess and an outstanding reputation for Quidditch. The school took students from age 7, although they did not board until they were 11. While day students, wizarding children were flown back and forth to their homes every day in the back of a flock of giant storm petrels.
Wait, what? Storm what?
So the day students were flown back and forth on these birds to their home.
I feel like that's fitting for that area.
Yeah. And then Wagadu is the last one. It's in Uganda. It was the African wizarding school located in the mountains of the moon in western Uganda. It was the largest of the 11 wizarding schools, and it accepted students from all over Africa. Wagadu students were famously skilled in astronomy, alchemy, and self-transfiguration. Wands were primarily a European invention, and although African wizards did adopt them as useful tools, Wagadu students preferred to cast spells simply by pointing their fingers or through other types of hand gestures.
Wow.
That was exhausting. That was a lot of information. All I want to know, which school would you want to go to?
The last one sounds cool.
Yeah. Wagadu,
yeah.
It does sound cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got an Ilvermorny bias because they're so democratic. It feels like it's like they're doing things right. Wait, did you say that was founded by someone who was a non-magic person? No mage?
No match, yeah.
No mage? That also sounds pretty great.
I know.
So balanced, and it feels like they're not hating on the muggles.
Wait, how? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, maybe they were trying not to keep magic as much of a secret.
But how can they create something that they're not a part of?
Well, maybe it was a guy or girl whose spouse was the magic one. And they're like, you know what? We got to teach other people.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to call home. They don't fit in at regular school.
One day when we finish this whole thing, we'll do a whole deep dive on Ilvermorny.
Yeah, all the
whole podcast. And it's like my favorite. The history of it is so fascinating. She wrote another thing, so maybe we'll just read that and talk about that because it's really fascinating magic. Very, very good stuff. But most people on our subreddit were all about Wagadu. They said wandless magic seems like the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem really cool, but does that mean they're better at it, or would wands increase their magic? It's like you're adding the power of a unicorn hair, or a dragon heartstring, or a phoenix feather. Yeah. Wouldn't that help? Or is it a crutch that's preventing the wizards from reaching their full potential?
Just cheaper.
Yeah.
Hagrid made use of the umbrella. That's nice.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But I am definitely Ilvermorny. All about Ilvermorny.
Yeah, it sounds pretty great.
I feel like I want to go to France.
Yeah, Beauxbaton sounds good.
I think I want to go there.
Castle.
Yeah, and Durmstrang seems to be dark wizards only.
Yeah. And so Durmstrang,
I thought so about the muggles. I said that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that they allow dark magic and muggles to not go together.
Your guys' predictions are great. And I used to think it was in Russia. I used to think it's like more Eastern Europe, but I think there's debate about that. A lot of people think it's deep in Norway, like very upper reaches of Norway. And I kind of like that. I think it's
is that the one nobody knows where it is?
Yeah. So that's the only school that no one really knows where it is.
Right.
So a lot of people are thinking like the upper reaches of Norway or Sweden or something like that.
The Arctic Circle.
The far north. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jenn.
Janny.
And Kristen. Sorry.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Hey, join us on subreddit r/first-time-readers. It is like bringing back the old MuggleNet days where we're trying to talk about fan theories. It's kind of like we're reading it for the first time again, which is what this podcast is all about. So go check us out on our subreddit r/first-time-readers. We're slowly growing, and we are just having a good time over there. Also, rate and review this podcast. You can go check out our website, First Time Readers, at firsttimereaders.com. And if you do it, it's password protected. You got to guess the password. And it's Harry Potter related. So it shouldn't be that difficult of a guess, but you gotta guess what it is. We've had 3 people gain access so far. We're keeping it password protected. It's an unfinished website, but it's still fun. Also, if you want stickers, bookmarks, send me an email at firsttimereaders@gmail.com or find out some other way to get contacted. Find out some other way to contact me. I'm on subreddit. And so you can find my username there, and then you can kind of just talk to me, send me your address. I'll send you guys some merch. Other than that, again, just rate and review this podcast, spread the word. We're looking to get bookmarks into different bookstores. We're going to sneak them into different Harry Potter books, so someone who's reading it for the first time can actually read it and go along with the podcast, because that's kind of what we would love to see. Enjoy these chapters. We're doing chapters 17 and 18 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and this is really this is where the book gets really good, and it's really, really fun. So enjoy this discussion.
I was literally just thinking, did we ask Kristen which school she wanted to go to? And then
that's where
I froze.
Excellent.
All right. We're on to chapter 17, The Four Champions. What is the summary of this chapter?
The processing of the 4 champions. They decided to allow Harry to compete, but no one really wants him to. Ron is mad at him and doesn't believe him that he didn't put his name in. And Moody thinks that someone is trying to kill Harry.
And this chapter opens kind of terrifyingly with Harry having to walk up to the front, unbelievably terrified and embarrassed of what's happening. That would be awful. But what is the most embarrassed that you've ever been?
Oh, gosh.
Do you remember?
Yes.
There's probably a lot of those. I gotta.
Some I don't want to share.
Fill us in.
I mean, I have multiple ones. This one, I have one where it was like a family embarrassment thing where it's just funny, but I'll share this one. We were tubing on the Hudson. It was like my cousins and my siblings and I on a like speedboat. Whatever, it was fun. We were out there all day. We dock and everyone was like getting off, and I was like one of the last ones. Everyone's on the shore, kind of just like watching everyone get off the boat. And I like went to get off, and somehow my shorts got stuck on the boat, so I'm hanging by my shorts off the boat, and I couldn't move.
Oh my god!
And so I got a huge wedgie. Everyone's watching, and my cousin had to come and lift me up to get me off the boat.
Oh my gosh.
This is great.
Not the most embarrassing, but that was up there. Just everyone seeing everything, and I couldn't move.
Suspended there. Oh my gosh.
How high up are you?
I mean, like a boat off, like at 2 feet off the water, right? Like the boat sitting above the
So
water.
you're like in the water too.
So I'm like hanging, I'm just like hanging by my shorts. But you can see my backside, and everyone's like laughing and pointing. Oh man,
That's
And
awful.
the worst is that you actually need someone to help you though. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't-
You're stuck there
I
until
was just
someone else can
stuck
come
until
help.
someone lifted me
Oh,
up.
that's the worst.
I guess, yeah.
That's so funny.
So
I'm
that's
sorry.
one.
Great.
We're
It's
laughing
fine.
with you, not at you.
It's fine.
Okay, I would have been laughing at you.
I was laughing while I was there.
That's all you can
Hanging.
do.
Oh no!
It's so funny.
Yeah, I've had a lot of stuff
I
like
know.
that.
I'm like, I feel like there's a lot. My brain is not coming up with any. There was one, oh gosh, like Christmas time. It was, I'm not going to explain who it was in the family, like not family member, but like someone that we knew through family, this woman. And I didn't see her often, and we went to say hi, and we went in for the kiss. I went this way. She also went this way. Smack dab on the lips.
Yeah.
I was like, well, hi, good to see you. We just kissed on the lips, and then I turned around and walked away. That was very uncomfortable.
Those are always awkward and embarrassing.
I always find myself in those awkward situations, and then I announce it and then walk away.
Well, it's better that way. I
Yeah, I
think.
think announcing it
Yeah.
is the right move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes out. I don't even mean to. I'm like, well, here's the obvious. This is what happened.
You're
Bye.
trying to hide it. It's just more awkward.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm not too embarrassed, you know.
Yeah.
Not too many embarrassing stories. I do have some, but I'm like not the most easily embarrassed person, I guess. But I can't remember too many. I know one story is going to come to me like in another hour.
You
or
never
something.
get embarrassed.
No, I do. I just can't remember
When
when
you
I
were
do.
hanging by your shorts and everyone's watching.
No, yeah. I was like thinking. I'm like,
Some you
that
block
sparked
out,
my
maybe.
memory or something like that. But no. I mean, like I've been tubing and the water will like take your shorts off. So I was tubing once.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that embarrassed because I was with a bunch of guys. So it's like,
yeah.
you're just not that embarrassed. I was tubing and Trevor, I think, jumped onto my tube and he was trying to rip me off and I was hanging on by one hand because he was on the other side and I think my shorts just completely popped off. So I obviously let go and I
you
found
let
them.
go?
Yeah,
You found them?
I thought you
Yeah,
said you were
nice.
embarrassed. Keep holding on.
Own it.
You're gonna have to take everything off. I'm not letting go of this too. But I think my shorts popped off, and as soon as they popped off, I'm like, oh, I'm done. Let go of it. Found them just floating like 10 feet away from me.
Nice.
Threw them back on, and everyone was like, what happened? I was like, oh, my shorts came off. But that was probably it.
I feel like, that's like a guy thing. I feel like you guys are always just, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, you stand in the bathrooms like peeing next to each other. So
It's true. And when you do that, usually your pants are at your ankles. So, totally normal.
I didn't know. Thanks.
That's how we do it.
Yep.
That's
It is funny. I was just telling someone there's a video of some
gracious.
streamer on Twitch or something like that, and he's explaining to his girlfriend. There's like a diagram of like 10 pictures of a urinal, and it's like if there's a check or if there's an X at one, it means it's occupied, and if it's like there's a circle at one, it doesn't mean it's occupied, and it's like a game for where guys would go. And he's like, oh, you would obviously go here, and he's explaining all the reasoning behind why you would pee at that specific urinal if the other ones are taken or not taken. And in my head, I'm going along with him like, yes, you'd pee there before he said it, and it's like he confirms all the answers. I'm like, all guys just intuitively know where to pee.
You don't walk in and just go right next to the other guy.
That is so. I didn't know there was
There's a
like
science behind it.
Yeah.
Definite etiquette.
We wouldn't know.
Yep.
Wow.
I was trying to think of embarrassing stories. Like, I get embarrassed when I mess up people's names, but that's like not a big deal. That's like minor stuff. So I was trying to think of real things, but I feel like I've probably blocked them out. But one time I was with my friend Kyle, and we were trying to get somewhere and we were running late, and I kept like yelling for we gotta go. I don't even remember what it was. And then at some point I run up and I'm like, dude, what is taking so long? And I go over to his laptop and there's a picture of a dude. He's got like a big old mustache. And I'm like, quit messing around with Mr. Molestache and let's get moving. And, you know, I'm making a joke about the mustache and maybe not cool anyway. And he says, oh, dude. And he like pauses for a second. He's like, that's my uncle who died in 9/11. And I was just like, I'm an idiot. He was reading his memorial. It was the anniversary of his death. It was this whole thing, and I felt so dumb. And I don't remember what I actually said. I'm sure it was absolute garbage. I'm just like, I take it all back. I'm such an idiot. I'm so sorry. And we're still great friends. So obviously it didn't ruin our friendship, but I felt so dumb. I'm like me just being a sass for a second, and then I get to feel stupid for all eternity.
Those things suck when you're such good friends with someone, and then like you say something and it's just like a little bit off time or a little bit off, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I could take that back.
Yeah. Like I feel like it would have been a little edgy in the best of circumstances, and then it was the worst of circumstances. I'm like, oh, why did I say that?
Oh, man.
I've definitely had many of those situations. I probably blocked them out.
We choose not to remember this. It's like tough friendships with Ron and Harry here anyway, so we'll get to that. We talked about this before, but any other theories on how you think Harry's name got in the Goblet of Fire? Because Moody says maybe someone's hoping Potter is going to die for it. Moody says this with the merest trace of a growl. Go ahead.
Someone, so do they actually have to like write out the name, or is it like a magic spell that it like wrote out the name for Harry Potter into the, like it could be, what's her name? The Rita Skeeter.
Oh my gosh. Wanting
With
the
her
tournament to be
green
even
quill.
better. Wow.
In the,
Interesting theory.
even though I didn't think I thought she was good.
She would do anything for a story, and so she's entering Harry into the tournament to make it even more dramatic.
Yeah. Could be.
I mean, it would be, it's illegal probably, but it's a great move as a journalist.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
She probably has some magic powers too. I mean, she obviously does. I meant like advanced.
Huh. Do you guys have any theories? Danny?
I don't know. I do think someone is trying to kill Harry. I don't think this is for his good. But I don't know who did it. I have a hard time believing it was Voldemort directly or even Wormtail. So I'm thinking it was his minion, whoever that is. Whoever cast the Dark Mark, I'm assuming is the one who also put the name in, or at least like orchestrated it. It's just too convenient, but I don't think it was done. Oh man, I don't know. I go back and forth. It could have been anyone over the age of 17 who could just cross the line and put it in there.
Yeah. Could have been any of the 7th year and a lot of the 6th years too. So you're not really sure.
I don't know. Yeah.
My theory of Rita Skeeter is so interesting though, because now I'm like, wait, she probably was at the.
Yeah.
Would have been there already, right?
Yeah. And she wrote about it, and she kind of like put a spin.
She was probably just sitting in the background.
That's a great cover, though. Actually,
I know,
if you're a mole and you're a dark wizard and you're like the reporter going around changing stories. You can make anyone look.
I mean, that would kind of make sense, because then that's why she's kind of hating on the ministry a little bit, trying to start undermining the ministry in the way she writes about stuff. Maybe setting up for making Voldemort not the bad guy, but the hero. You know, like, we need someone to overthrow the ministry because they don't know what's going on.
Wow.
That would kind of make sense. Well, right now, Voldemort's just bad and evil and whatever. But I think I'm expecting at some point, you know, the best villains are the ones you can kind of understand where they're coming from, even if you wouldn't side with them. And so far, we don't really get that with Voldemort. But I'm almost expecting at least an element of that, where you're like, okay, I could see why some people would follow him. And then, of course, he ends up taking it to the extreme. So I don't really know. But Rita Skeeter, she could be evil. Interesting. I now don't like her, but
because she's one of those characters that initially you don't hate. You're like, this person is doing a good job. So maybe Rowling kind of lulled you into a sleep with this character, and later it's going to be revealed that she's truly evil. She's like Voldemort's right-hand woman, and you never expected it. My most devoted servant is a journalist in the Ministry of Magic, trashing everyone. I mean, it's like, media's a powerful tool.
Yeah, we know.
I just want to say this line to draw your attention to it. I don't want to say anything more about it, but this is a line in the book, and you'll get it as we go on. It says, "Did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire, Harry?" Dumbledore asked calmly. I just want to draw your attention to it. You probably know what I'm talking about, maybe a little bit. You haven't seen this meme? Okay. We'll get there when we get there.
It's a meme.
So.
There's just a funny little note in the movies that happens with this line that is like the antithesis. Everyone uses this as the example of the difference between the movies and the books.
Weird.
So it says, "Did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire, Harry?" Dumbledore asked calmly.
Oh, he probably asked him.
Harry, you idiot!
I'll spoil it for you guys.
Wait,
in the movies, he literally Dumbledore runs into the room going, "Harry, Harry," grabs him by the shirt collars and essentially shakes him, saying, "Did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire?" And he goes, "No." It's like an actually terrifying scene. I know. The most
They're just changing his
scene.
character every time he comes up in the movies.
Awful. Unforgivable sin right there. Unforgivable curse. Would you guys want to enter the Triwizard Tournament?
No.
Yeah.
Are you just playing devil's advocate, or would you really want to?
No, I think I actually would.
He ran with bowls. Of course he would enter.
And I didn't win anything for that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was just for the sake of experiencing it, because I was young and dumb. So like, even now at 31, I'm like, maybe. But if I was 17, I wouldn't even thought about it. My name would be in there so fast.
Yeah. And there's even, I think, the peer pressure of the school. I think every student who's 17, like, by just that age, you just have to put your name in.
Yep.
Like, if you put your name in and I didn't, I'm like, oh great, I got to put my name in now.
Right. And even was it Angelina Johnson at in the morning? She was talking about it. It was like that becomes the thing. Even just the story of putting your name in, because you've experienced all the emotions of the potential of being called. Like, it would almost be a coming of age thing, even if you're just saying, there's a 1 in however big your class is chance of being the one, whether 50 people put their names in or something. Like, the odds are not in your favor. And I think for me, part of it is also trusting that the goblet knows best. So it would be an honor to be chosen by the Goblet of Fire, because it would almost be like the stamp of approval. Like, the goblet is finding you worthy to compete. So if the goblet thinks I'm worthy, it'll put my name forth. And if not, so be it. At least I experienced something. And
seriously. I got a good
try
story
my
out
best.
of it.
Yep.
Could the goblet be like charmed though by someone?
Well, clearly. Well, according to Moody. And Moody seems to know his stuff, but Moody thought the goblet could be confused if someone submitted a name from a different school. And maybe that's just never happened before.
But Dumbledore doesn't read off a school name. He just reads off his name.
True, he doesn't. He just reads up. Well, yeah, but that doesn't even make sense, because Harry does go to Hogwarts. So maybe I don't believe that Moody's theory is correct.
Yeah.
But even if I don't believe his theory is correct, the fact that he's theorizing that, I'm assuming he knows enough about the Goblet of Fire to know it's at least a remote possibility that someone could do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if Fred and George were old enough, I could see them pulling a funny like prank and just putting a random name in there for fun.
Seriously, yeah, I
or
know.
like someone from some other school or like Santa Claus or like whatever. Like I feel like people would make a joke about it to some degree.
It's like every year Donald Duck gets like like 1,000 votes for any election, any given
and
year.
like all the students are just hoping it's one of those like you know funny names that's like they read out and they're like that's not real.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I'd throw my name in there.
And then who do you think is going to win out of the 4 champions?
Wait, did you say if you would join?
I would 100%. Yeah. I think I still am standing by my idea. I think this is a little extreme to have in a school. I much more would support a Quidditch tournament between the schools. I think something that'd be more fun would be let adults do this. Let it be not like the Hunger Games where people have to die, but like let the 4, 5, 6 most accomplished wizards of the age compete once every 4 years, like a massive World Cup, like American Ninja Warrior or something like that. Like you got to go through preliminary rounds, and then all of a sudden this person is picked, or like you just all put your name into a goblet, and that goblet picks the 10 most worthy people, and those 10 people fight and they battle against whatever the tasks are. I think that would be the height of entertainment for...
I feel like, that would be cool. But even a spin off of that thing would be like per category. Like whoever is the best at like herbology, you guys
You're
would get
right.
there.
That'd
And
be
then
awesome.
whoever is like
the best potion master.
like all of that. Like you break it down by that, because then it's not just overall everything. It's like your
That would be so
Wizard
good.
Olympics. That'd be so great.
That's like a decathlon.
yeah. There you go.
I also feel like if I was genuinely considering it, which I guess Ron and Harry weren't actually, but I would have just gone straight to Hermione and been like, tell me about the book you read about the history of the Triwizard Tournament. Because I want to know, like, what have the competitions been before?
Yeah.
You know, like, I want to hear about those. And if I'm just like, oh, yeah, I would have died when that dragon came, then all right, I'm out then. I don't want to be, like, facing a dragon. Or, like, yeah, I hate things that are where I'm claustrophobic, for example. Then it'd be like, all right, well, I'm not going to do it then. If it's going to be things like that. So if you can kind of put some legwork in, research, figure it out, then I could assess it a little bit more. That'd make or break it.
Does the goblet pick the categories? No, these Ministry Magic and these people are picking like the different tasks.
Yes. Yeah, they're coming up with the task. The goblet just picks the person. And you saw later
based off the tasks?
I don't think so. I think it's just who's the most worthy. It's like Thor's hammer, like whoever can pick this up, whoever's the most worthy student of each school. I'm kind of guessing it's that. And so Harry gets entered. But it only picks once every 4 years, and then it turns off, and then it's got to turn back on, and that's when it could do it. So that's what Moody is saying. He's like, we can't put other people's names in because the goblet can't pick, because it won't come on until 4 more years. So
I didn't realize that.
And it's a magical binding contract, which is a little alarming that they're putting like 17-year-olds in a magical binding contract.
And the age line was there, but what if it wasn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
Then you could put like 3-year-olds names in
like
there?
Like Colin Creevy,
Yeah, it just feels odd. Well, hopefully the goblet wouldn't think they were worthy.
Oh, no way. Colin is 100% worthy of that.
Right? That's like, then he'd be out there like competing.
Neville.
I don't like that the judges are from the school either. It feels weird because you're getting a judge from each school and then 2 bonus judges. It's 5, right?
Yep.
I feel like, would a judge go against their own person? I just can't imagine Karkaroff being
he's gonna give Trump
biased.
anything less
non-biased. Like, is he really gonna be like, yep, Cedric crushed that one, he wins?
Yeah.
You know, I just don't see it.
Especially with his reaction to Harry being entered.
Like, and then they're gonna start judging even more biased after feeling like they're betrayed by Harry. And then Harry and Cedric can team up and like, you know, get to a certain point, and then it just creates a weird environment. So then it feels like the real decision is just 2 judges, because everyone else is going to cancel out, and then that's it. So that feels not
2 judges is not a very good system.
It's a terrible system. How do you do that?
That's a weird one. But who do you guys think out of these 4 champions do you think is going to win the Triwizard Tournament?
There might not be a winner. It might just end before.
Everyone dies but one. I feel like Crumb is the most qualified.
Huh. Okay.
Why?
Well, 1, I think he's cheating and he's not actually 17, and so he's just bigger and better. But if he actually is 17,
Super secret.
I feel like there are less rules up at Durmstrang, and they're not just teaching things like the right way. It's like a down and dirty, like just survive. Like I feel like he's learning stuff that Hogwarts wouldn't ever teach. That gives him an advantage.
Yeah.
And we know he's really good at Quidditch. He's made it really far in that. But like John said, maybe clumsy on his feet, he'll be lacking in other ways. But I feel like he's got to be a certain level of good. I think Fleur Delacour on her looks, she's been skating by. She's not really good enough. Harry, he's just young. He's got some core stuff that's really good. But he is lacking knowledge. He does not know as many spells as even Hermione.
Yeah.
All right, but also
Cedric,
the
we
goblet
just
is
don't
not
know.
looking at looks.
It
So
certainly
for
isn't.
Fleur
But
Delacour,
How do you know
Again-
it's not looking at looks?
I
is
wouldn't have
worthy.
picked Crumb.
That's true.
Fair. But what we don't know enough about like the Beauxbatons people.
Yeah.
She's just the most worthy from the school. That doesn't mean she's worthy.
So you're
Like,
saying the girls' school isn't qualified?
wait, is it actually girls' school?
No,
We
it's
went
not
back
all
and
girls'
forth.
school.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I just want to catch him.
But it feels like those other crying girls, we still don't know why they were crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not that convinced that everyone put their name in, even those 12 people or whatever it was. So
Like
I feel like Fleur is not up to snuff. Not that we've seen yet.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite theories of yours that you gave. The idea of those two girls crying, not necessarily out of sadness they didn't get in the tournament, but out of mourning for Fleur for what she's going to go through. And maybe she's going to die because maybe Maxine told them all about it. And Fleur was like, maybe she missed that lesson and she went willy-nilly and just entered into the tournament. And she's like,
just skating by her looks, and she actually is dumb.
Jen, stop putting words in our mouth. All right?
And not dumb, but just
I don't know. That's how
only
it's
the
coming
most
across to
worthy
me.
of
So.
the 12 people
far
there.
from it.
But she's like arrogant. So I'm just kind of like, arrogance feels lame. I'm
But if
looking
she
at
was
Cedric.
a guy,
He's not arrogant.
it
Crumb,
wouldn't be a big deal.
even Crumb isn't arrogant. Harry, he is actually a little arrogant.
Yeah.
But he's being humble enough in this. He's not trying to be like, yep, I'm worthy.
Yeah.
But Fleur just gives me weird vibes. Something about it. Arrogance does not give me the impression
get
that
much
someone
of
is good
I'm
at
not
something.
either.
They
Just because
want
she's
people to think
pretty
they're good.
and all the guys like
there
her.
were two things distinctly in this. So she was sweet in certain points, but there was a moment when she laughed because
Yes.
of this stay. She's like, Dumbledore said something like, I hope your stay at our castle is
that's
wonderful.
right.
And she sniggers. She like laughs out loud for it. Everyone is quiet and then she laughs. I'm like, that is, I mean,
Someone could have been saying something to her, and she just
No,
laughed at the wrong
disrespect.
time. You would have been right there as like a 17-year-old laughing at the wrong time, with like your
You're
friends
up on
goofing
Castle.
off. So
Depends
I
on
don't
what
know.
it is, but you're probably right. I don't know though. She just rubs me the wrong way.
I have to stand up for her.
Although I do
She's the
want
only
her and Cedric
female.
to fall in love. They're both smoke shows, looking good by the firelight when Harry walks in. So it's cool, but I just don't know. Wait, why do you
Do you
like
think
her
we'll have
so
a little
much?
kiss cam in the Triwizard Tournament?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Pair
Up on the
them up.
Jumbotron.
No, it's going to Hunger Games style.
she definitely has to be the most worthy student at Beauxbaton. Unless your theory is right that no one really entered from Beauxbaton, and that's why the people were crying, is they were really like mourning for her because she was really kind and she seems like a lovely person. Even when she went up to get the bouillabaisse, she like Ron, he couldn't even speak because she was a Vila, but he was like dumbfounded. So she seems kind and sweet, but maybe she was the only one that entered. But it's really doesn't lead us to believe that at this specific moment. Maybe there's hints in there that it's not. So she does seem to be the most worthy at Beauxbaton. And she's getting it on her merit, not necessarily her looks. So there you go, Jen. But with all that said, they leave. There's all sorts of talk that happens between these people of like, there's magical binding contracts. They can't back out now. They can't change anything. The tournament just has to go on from this point. And Harry leaves and he goes up to the dorm and he has the banner on him. Everyone, it explodes because they're all so excited for him. And then Ron is just not there. And then he goes and he finds Ron. Ron is pissed off. Hermione explains it well in the next chapter, but why do you think Ron is really frustrated and upset here? Do you think it's justified for him?
Yeah. Ron to be upset with Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's really thinking full picture. and like he's thinking of this instance and it just added on to like all the past years. And like he's like one of the youngest he's the youngest brother. I can't imagine following the shadows of all these your brothers that did really well. Like one's a prefect that's perfect. One is a dragon. I don't even know what he does actually. One works at Gringotts, and then the twins are like fun and everyone likes them. And then there's Ron. And he has a famous friend, which I'm tapping into what she was saying, Hermione.
I'm annoyed at Ron. It doesn't feel, it feels too extreme. I understand it, but it feels almost out of character. And I feel like we need to hear his side first and have him explain it. And if he explains it right, then I'll be totally down. And I feel like Hermione is right. And even when Hermione said it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. But even that, it feels like too much. And maybe his initial reaction was more based on, wow, my best friend put his name in and didn't even tell me.
Yeah.
And that would hurt too. Like it was like a secret. And then once he's upset, he just thought of all the other reasons to be upset too. But I was not happy with the way Ron responded, because if it was more of a healthy response, well, and Harry did the same thing too. It like escalated something that didn't need to be escalated.
Yeah.
If either one of them was more mature, they could have squashed this right away, but it was their own like immaturity that made it bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like this is enough of a reason for Ron. And if it really is just about playing second fiddle to Harry all the time, then it's something he should have discussed earlier before the resentment grew to this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think Harry is just a terrible de-escalator too. He only seems
he really
to escalate
is, you're
situations. Like if one of his friends is mad at him, he just is like, no, you're stupid. Because the one, I can't stand this one line, but I'm like, I understand why Harry's saying this. But I think Ron says like, I'm not stupid, Harry. And he goes, you're doing a really good impression of it. I'm like, Harry, just shut up. That just set him off. He will never talk to you again if you say something like that. That's like, oh, Harry, learn.
Yeah. They're both, like you said, they're both just very immature.
Yeah.
They don't really know conflict within the friend group, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, or between them two. Because I was trying to think, I'm like, they were mad at Hermione, and she's able to talk her way back in once she figures out her own inner workings or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to do that. They'll almost need Hermione to step in and kind of guide them back to one another. Because, like you said, Harry says dumb things. And then Ron is just kind of burrowing deeper into the whatever he's feeling.
I hope they can reach this conclusion without Hermione. I mean, Hermione needed to help Harry like make some realizations, but it would just be such a healthy thing for their friendship,
right?
For like one or both of them to experience like humility and come to that realization on their own and say like, oh wow, like I care more about Ron than my pride or like me wanting to be coddled right now or whatever. Then Harry could just like apologize outright. That'd be great. Or Ron to do the same thing. And I don't like blame either one of them. They both feel hurt in their own way or like scared because it's strange for Harry. So I'm not like hating on either one of them,
right?
But the conflict is unfortunate.
Yeah. Just not handling it well.
Yeah.
They'll learn.
Now I
hopefully
assume and hope this conflict will be resolved by the end of the book. But
maybe their friendship is over, period.
Ron heads the Malfoy direction.
No.
He is the one going to Voldemort.
He's the most devoted servant.
But, I did just think for a second, like this could be his origin story. He's going to go to the dark side and whatever. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think he's going to come back.
One thing that's clear in this though, and this is in the next chapter, is how good of a friend Hermione is. I think how she understands Harry and how she understands Ron is beyond her years in maturity. Like the idea that she knows Harry would not want to go down to breakfast. She knows he's not going to hang out in the common room. So literally Harry opens the door of their common room and she's sitting there and she goes, hello, she said, holding up a stack of toast, which she was carrying in a napkin. Brought you this. Want to go for a walk?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly what he needs. Like this, up to this point, this is my favorite Hermione moment.
Yeah.
Knows exactly what her friend needs and it like delivers on it perfectly. Such a good friend. So we'll break into that, but I have one more question actually before this, which is like an overarching question, but is Moody's eye, should that be illegal? And I'm saying this specifically at a school. A school of children.
Because he could see. I don't even actually understand it. He
Yeah,
could
I don't
see
understand the eye enough either.
things.
So
he could see behind
He
him.
just seems like he can see
everything.
through walls, like can see everything.
Oh.
Like there's it just seems highly inappropriate at a school. That's all I'm saying.
You would think that.
I'm just saying at a school setting, this would not pass any, he would not be able to be like, okay,
I mean,
so
it's not really great
give us your
anywhere,
eye.
though.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
it's good for what he does.
Yeah. Being a dark wizard catcher, it's great for what he does.
And like, was he born that way? No. This is a magical eye he created.
Probably.
I
He
assumed
was born that way?
needed, like he lost his eye somehow
Yeah.
and then just replaced it. Then he's like, well, why replace it normal if I could make it advanced?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't give it much thought. It's hard for me to picture the eye. Like it was behind him or something at some point.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this basic?
There's a
Like he
picture
can
in
just
the
look
book,
behind
though.
him?
Yeah.
Or is
Well,
this something
no, not
insane
exactly.
that he's got magic powers in his eye?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly some magic powers. What page is the picture on?
It's
a chapter thing?
193. I
I
feel
think-
like it just looks like a fake eye, though.
I do think they do a good
Yeah.
depiction of it in the movies. The movies, again, are not great from this point on, I think, in depicting certain characters and people. But I think they actually do a good job with Moody. And there's like a point to it. Even in the movie, he said, I'm not going to spoil. I just spoiled another part. So I could spoil this. But like fun little things of like how you see Moody's eye interacting with things. And it's kind of cute and fun. So he's an interesting guy, though.
We're probably going to learn more about him in
Yeah.
this book because he has like scars and stuff. So I'm curious what that came from.
Yeah, his face was chiseled by someone who doesn't know how to chisel. I love that description. Okay, chapter 18, The Weighing of the Wands. Give me a short description of this chapter.
You have
guys
it?
Harry is interviewed by Rita Skeeter, and the champions have their wands weighed and checked by Mr. Ollivander to ensure they're in proper working condition. I don't know if anything past that happens.
Yeah. This was like a weird chapter to me. But I have a few things that I want to talk about. First of all, I just want to talk about Hermione's friendship. How amazing is she? Let's just all dote on Hermione for a few minutes and talk about how incredible this character is. Just how good of a friend she is. I think this is fantastic. I really love the trio, but Hermione in this moment stands head and shoulders above the other two. She's not petty. She's not immature. She's showing real maturity and real like love of another person. When she's not taking care of someone in the way that she wants to be taken care of, she's taking care of another person in the way that they need to be taken care of, which is beyond her years and maturity. I love that so much.
She even like tells Harry, like, no, you have to tell Ron that I'm not relaying any messages back and forth, which I think is exactly what you're saying.
Yes. Maturity beyond her years.
Mm-hmm.
There's also just some good lines in this too. Like even this, when Harry goes to class and it says Hagrid's beetle black eyes looked anxious under his wild brows. No idea who put you in for it, Harry? You believe I didn't do it then? Said Harry, concealing with difficulty the rush of gratitude he felt at Hagrid's words. Even Hagrid just being a good friend here. And like he knows that Harry didn't put his name in.
And then reassuring him that Dumbledore believes him too.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Here's another random question. And maybe we'll shoot this one down quick. But do you think possibly that Harry could have put his name in the goblet and it's just a misdirect as far as like writing is concerned? Do you still think at all there's any chance that Harry put his name in and we just don't know it yet?
A little bit, but I'm hoping not, only because the story from Harry's perspective so far has been the trustworthy story. I don't know the writing terms for this thing, but like that would feel like too big of a misdirect. If Harry's in the dark and we're in the dark, cool. But then if all of a sudden Harry, who's been like, he is the main character, so like we've been with him this whole time. So now if things are going on in his story, in his life that we don't find out until later, that'd be kind of like weird. I wouldn't be fond of the storytelling element of it, although it'd be a good little surprise. But I don't think so. The only way that I'd be okay with that is if he did it, but it was an Imperious curse, or something that like a memory charm where he didn't know. So he truly thinks he didn't do it, but then finds out later that he did. I could be down with that, and that is a possibility.
I mean, because we did learn the chapter before that of the Imperious curse, so maybe someone Imperious Harry. But then again, he'd have a long beard. Maybe the person dealt with that, and maybe they chopped his beard off as soon as he went through the age thing and came back. You never know.
We also don't know how the time turners work, but like in theory, someone could have done something funky with a time turner. They send him back a few years, put him in a trance, let him age for a couple more. He comes back, he's older, et cetera, et cetera. Then he could cross that line. I don't think that's what happened, because he would feel older. He'd probably be taller, but then again, we know you can get aging potions and this and that. So the aging potion forward didn't trick the thing. But if Harry was actually older and they de-aged him so he would look like he was a fourth year again, that could work.
Wow. These are
anyways, I'm just saying, like, anything is possible in the wizarding world, so you can't rule it out.
Especially because of time turners.
Yeah.
She opened up a world of possibility with that kind of stuff.
And Danny keeps taking it.
I can't help it.
You gotta explore every avenue.
But I feel like it maybe will never come up again, or it'll come up like once at the very end, because it's too big of a can of worms to keep opening up time turners. So I'm hoping she keeps it closed.
Your two guys' predictions are so funny to me. Like Jen is just like she like comes up with a few predictions here and there. Like her predictions, just like a slow and steady car. Like every once in a while you're like off and then you get back on. Danny's like, okay, let me try this avenue. Nope, that was wrong. Let me come back here. Let me try this one. Nope, McGonagall is not Harry's grandmother. Okay, Moody did not date Neville's grandma. Maybe they did.
Yeah, keep rule out. You know?
I just love how you take every possible outlet before you come back and realize.
And that's why I read so stinking slow.
I think it's so much more fun to read it slow. People are even saying on our subreddit, they're like, I did not read with the same intensity that both you guys are reading with. But I think that's because we're reading it slow and because we're doing this. No one is doing a podcast. So the first time I read it, I didn't read it. I was breezing through these because I had to know what was on the next page.
Right.
I'm sorry for causing you guys agony for having to slow down during the books.
No, we're unlocking so many more gems.
I know it's a fun part of like.
I'm not happy about it, but I'm going.
Yes, then tell John how terrible this is.
Oh no, I've already gotten many words about how terrible it is. Pausing and I hate that I'm doing this to you guys, so we got to do this. That's why we even recorded today, so we can get you guys to read right after we leave. Reading the next few chapters, so we'll see.
When people are going in and out of the Gryffindor Tower, they don't have to give a password to go out. And if someone else is going out and you're coming in, can they hold the door for you, or do you have to stay there and give the password? Because it kind of felt like that was happening with Hermione and Harry, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Again, just hate this little password thing. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm sure that could probably happen.
And then it just makes me question the security of the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, what is a painting going to do to you? Say like, oh no, you can't go in yet. You can't go in yet.
The best they could do is pass it along the line, get it to Dumbledore, and he could come like be the security. But that would make more sense. But no password. Just like, hey, I recognize you. You're here every single day. Yeah. Welcome back. Yeah. That'd make more sense.
Do you think that we don't really know where the other common rooms are? The only one we maybe know of is Slytherin's. And we know that Hufflepuff's is down because it says Cedric started to descend the stairs and Harry went upstairs. And I think we know Ravenclaw's is in another tower. But do you guys think that their entrances are just passwords like all the other ones? If it wasn't a password, what do you think it would be?
Slytherin was a password, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the M word. Remember? In book 2?
No.
Forgot about that. It actually was?
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Right?
And the prefects get to come up with the password?
No.
Wait, are there only 2 prefects?
Yeah, no, there's 2 prefects per class.
Per house.
Yeah,
okay,
but
right,
there's one head boy and one head girl, which is the 2 people over everything. And it's not like every house has a head boy. It's just the head boy and the head girl are like the top students. But I don't think the prefects picked the password.
The only reason I thought they did is because I thought it said Percy got to choose it in the last book, because the password was very similar to the Weasleys winning money. It was like something about like, oh man, what was the password? It was
in book 3.
It was in Latin or whatever it was.
Caput Draconis?
No, it was like
Where'd you
I remember too. It was something about coming across a bunch of money. Fortuna
Major.
What the?
No.
It was Fortuna
He knows
Major.
all
It was
passwords.
Major?
Yeah, I think it was
Major
Fortuna
Fortune?
Major.
Yeah. So maybe that's what I was thinking, where I was like, I wonder if this was Percy coming up with the password. But if that's not a thing, I don't know. So to answer your question, yeah, I kind of think they all have
John would get
passwords
into
and normal
Gryffindor.
paintings. That would
Like
make sense.
he has
Yeah.
them memorized.
Oh yeah.
I have all the passwords memorized, so in case I
Yeah,
ever go to
so
the
you're-
castle,
yeah.
I know the passwords to get in the
Boom,
tower.
you're in.
Yeah.
Done.
And if I don't, I'm going to find the little sheet of paper that Neville had all the passwords in. I'll find that laying around somewhere that I'll sneak in.
But it seems so stupid to have a password. Like it should be like what you were saying. Like the
Yeah.
painting recognizes you and it just
Yeah.
opens the door.
Yeah.
Do you think if there wasn't if the painting wasn't there, how else do you think that a student should get in? Because the idea of a painting recognizing you is great, except when you're talking about Polyjuice Potion.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a bump in the road for that. But how else do you think you'd be able to get in? Like, do you think each house would be different? Is there a
You can
different
have
one?
like a choreographed dance move.
Whoa.
Bum, 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 bum.
I could probably do a spell, right?
I'll just put a spell
spell,
on you.
I feel like one for Hufflepuff is you're not allowed to enter alone or something like that. Like you have to go
Ooh,
with
nice.
a friend.
How would
because
you
it's
get
all
in?
about loyalty. I
Well,
would
even
never
if you
get
were
in.
there alone,
Just Fincher. Jen with the zingers right now.
All we have to do is get what's her face, Floor to come.
I know, seriously.
You're in Hufflepuff,
I'm
and
in.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hufflepuff, thank you. Let's go right
He's just
there.
waiting by the door for her.
I do think that would be a good one for Hufflepuff. But what do you think that there's other good ones for other houses?
Oh man. Well, Ravenclaw would have to be something like witty, right? Or what? I don't know. Isn't that there? What would it be though?
Riddle would be good.
A riddle?
Puzzle type thing.
A puzzle?
You got to do a full
Crochet. You have
1,000-piece
to
jigsaw puzzle.
crochet
Boy,
something.
crochet something.
That's how Mrs. Weasley's getting all her sweaters done.
Yes.
Crochet
has to
sweater
crochet
to
a sweater.
enter.
That's a lot.
Something creative. Art. I don't know.
Slytherins have to curse someone or something like that.
Yeah.
That's so natural.
I know. It comes so easy to them.
Right?
This really does show. So there's a special bond between Harry and Hermione in these chapters. I think that it progresses their friendship to even further levels, but I think the bond between Harry and Ron is something that is pretty indescribable, and I think that's the stronger bond that Harry experiences because it has this one line. And I think he would say the same about Hermione if I'm honest, but he goes, he thought he could have coped with the rest of the school's behavior if he could just have Ron back as a friend. Ron seems like the dumb one that's with him on groups, like protecting him from Malfoy. Hermione's just like logical. She's like, oh, don't do that. It's stupid. But Ron is like, oh, I'll fight you. That's like stupid. Like, let's make fun of this person or let's like fight this person, you know? It really shows their bond that they share together. They're very kindred spirits. But then Harry mentions he wanted to use the Cruciatus curse on Snape. Do you think he's serious? And do you think he even could?
I don't think he's serious. And I don't think he could.
Yeah?
Wait, was that in
Yeah,
this
where
where
was that?
Ron and Malfoy
Yeah.
went at each other?
Mhm.
And then Hermione has the big teeth and
Yeah.
what's his name has boils on his
That's
face.
where I got really mad at Snape.
Me too.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
gosh.
So bad.
So part of me was like, yeah, Harry, I get
yeah.
Crucify him.
I kind of.
Not,
Crucio.
that's the one where you make someone do something, or is the killing one?
Crucio is the torture one.
Like pain.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, not that one. Just make him do something funny. Which one
Yeah.
was that?
I'm like,
the
Carrie, there's a lot of other
Oh, the
curses you
Imperious
could do other than Crucio.
So which one?
Imperious one?
Oh yeah, that's the one
Where
where
you
you
just control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Were
was
you
a
gonna
nasty
say something?
moment by Snape.
I did want to reach inside the book and slap him
Yeah.
because that's not okay.
What is your guys' just general feelings on Snape again? Like, has he progressed for you guys at all? Is he getting worse and more annoying?
Yeah.
Is he abusive?
Yes.
Yes. Keep
Yeah.
listing things that are negative, and I'll say
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And the fact that he's acting like this toward children,
Yeah.
Yep.
to me, that's completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why Dumbledore and McGonagall are putting up with this, but I feel like maybe because he's not getting the Defense Against the Dark Arts role, he's getting more and more bitter, and he resents things at Hogwarts in general. But I don't know what his end goal is, but he's headed in like a worse and worse direction. Because like even in the first book, I feel like we don't like him because he's obnoxious, but like then he's kind of protecting Harry. It feels like he's actually an okay teacher, but just a bad person. I don't know if that makes any sense,
Yeah.
but it now feels like he's not even being a good teacher, and he's picking on people, and he's like being mean. So it feels like we're watching his downfall. And I feel like it almost
Interesting.
like he maybe even used to be good, or like him and Dumbledore were bros or something, because there's a bond there and a respect, but I feel like we're watching a separation happen, which is
A parting of the ways.
yeah, like it just feels like I'm disliking him more and more as we go on. But torture still seems a bit extreme.
Is he,
I wasn't there
who is your least favorite person in these books? Is it Snape?
He's up there.
Yeah, he's definitely up there.
Yeah. He's not an insanely prominent character. I guess Snape, like, he's kind of a teacher and he's just a nasty teacher, but he's not like front and center. He is a little bit, and all their suspicions land with Snape because they just hate him so much. But do you hate another character more than you hate Snape?
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of who. Like, at the moment, Wormtail. Voldemort in theory, but like we just don't see a lot of him. I don't like understand him, but Wormtail is just such like, he's like betraying people and like sly and whatever. I don't know who else though. Malfoy
is-
definitely a lot. He keeps getting worse and worse too.
Mm-hmm.
Lucius, I definitely don't like. It's easier to not like them because they're actually doing bad things, and we know they're up to no good, even beyond what we've seen.
Yeah. This is an inexcusable one though, making fun of Hermione's little buck teeth.
I don't see anything different.
I know.
I just like
Ugh,
made me angry.
poor Hermione.
Yeah.
Wait, Jen, who's your least favorite person right now?
I don't know. I feel like right now, because we're talking about him, it is Snape, but Malfoy is annoying. I hate bullies like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so far.
This chapter in particular, Snape is just such a jerk.
But then he takes points away from Gryffindor. Doesn't do
50.
anything for Slytherin, and he's like backing up Malfoy. Why?
Right.
He's like, or is he getting some side money from the
Malfoy Manor, yeah.
yeah, I'm like,
The estate of the Malfoys.
yeah, that
interesting
owns the
theory.
Riddle House.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. After their class out, Harry's excused from the class, luckily, in a good moment. And he has to go get interviewed by Rita Skeeter in a broom closet.
He didn't have to.
Well, he didn't have to, but he was kind of like forced to.
He didn't know he had a choice.
Yeah, for sure. So
feel
that's
like-
the thing. He didn't really know he had a choice in the matter. So he was just ushered into this broom closet and just got interviewed.
It's not sketchy at all.
I know, right? Yeah.
That wand, no, that quill thing is
Quick quotes
insane.
quill. I know. That'd be great in real life, but especially if it like just wrote better.
But
If
like,
I could like say a sentence and it could write like it goes, testing,
like
my
it
name is
has
Rita
a
Skeeter, daily
mind.
profit reporter, attractive blonde Rita Skeeter, 45 or 43, whose savage quill has punctured many inflated reputations. It's a great line.
is it her mind or is it its own mind?
I think it's
I
her
was
mind.
wondering.
Yeah, so I
Her.
think she's a good writer. Yeah, for sure.
So she could just talk, and then the pen knows her and just writes as if she's writing.
And I think the longer that she uses that specific pen, the more it really knows her mind. It's the same kind of idea. I don't know if I told you guys this yet. I think I might have mentioned it, but there's a difference between paintings in the castle and the paintings of the headmasters in the office. Yeah. I think I mentioned this, where the headmasters are actually encouraged to spend a few minutes every day with their portrait so that it actually embodies who they are a little bit more.
I do remember you saying that.
Whereas just normal paintings are just normal paintings and they're animated. So like the paintings of the previous headmasters are a little bit more involved. So it could be something like this. The more time she spends with this quick quotes quill pen, the more it like takes on her actual style. So maybe she's really like hitting the stride here. But how do you like Rita Skeeter after this interview?
I'm leery about her.
Now I don't like her.
Someone on the stream right now said she sucks on the quill first, so I think she's adding some sort of magic to it, which I think is kind of true.
That's literally what I was gonna say. Whoever you are, I was literally just gonna bring that up.
Because that's what she does before she does it. So maybe she's like a little DNA, puts a little DNA into it, and it kind of gets her a feel for it. Yeah,
it's her.
That's a fascinating one. That's a good idea. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah,
I feel like she manipulated Harry. The arm on the, like literally physically grabbing him and dragging him in there. And that's where I think, again, his size is coming into play. Fleur Delacour called him out on the little boy. And
such an insult.
And yeah, I'm just like, ugh,
that's
goodness.
Why he doesn't
but
like
you
her.
kind of feel that too. Like he is the small kid in this room. Everyone else is older, more mature, better wizards. And he's just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And this is, again, he just didn't even know he could say no. Bagman's like, Harry won't mind, right? And then next thing he knows, he's in a closet.
Yeah. I mean, one of the first things that Harry notices when he goes into the room with all the champions is how extremely tall all these champions are. He is a little child still. He hasn't, he's probably like just hitting puberty, just starting to hit his growth spurts. And he's thrown into this tournament, which is insane.
In some environments, we see him very confident, but he is not confident here. It's almost like when he's faced with direct evil, he's okay. He's willing to die. He'll like step right up. But this is awkward because he doesn't know, like, he doesn't want to offend people. But I feel like if he had more time to think, he would have said, no, Rita Skeeter, I'm not going to do this yet. Like, let me just talk to Dumbledore for a little before we start making statements to the media.
And she was weird when Dumbledore came in.
Oh, yeah. She knew this was over the line.
Right.
I feel like Bagman should have stood up for him, too. It just felt weird.
Yeah, I know.
I know, but I don't trust him either.
I don't trust any of these people right now.
Flora's wand contains another magical object, which is Vila hair. Do you think that's going to make a good wand, Core?
Well, Ollivander said no. It's temperamental.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he said.
Wait, is she actually a Vila, or was that just a joke that somebody
She's like
said at the
1/4,
table?
Isn't
Yeah,
she?
I think she'd
Her
be like
grandma.
Actually,
her grandma is Vila.
Yes,
Just almost
she
seems
said
weird
it
to
was
put like a
from
part
her
of
grandma's.
herself in.
Yeah. I think some of the older like magical families would probably do that. Ones that are really like all about bloodline. Maybe they're so proud of their Vila ancestry, they're going to throw a Vila hair in there. Maybe there's some half unicorn, half human out there who's throwing unicorn hair too.
Okay, at least they were
Those are
humans.
centaurs.
A unicorn centaur,
Oh,
Unicorn centaur.
but still the horn out of a horse. That'd be intense.
It's the head of a horse, unicorn, and the
nice.
the legs of a human.
Excellent.
but there's
Someone fired at you.
You wanted to say but. I know you did.
It always comes back around at one point.
And then even on the question before that we were talking about, do you trust anybody in this moment? Like we talked about, we have a few people who we trust, right? We trust Dumbledore.
Yeah.
We trust Harry. Ron, I don't know anymore. We kind of trust Ron still, but maybe he's the servant of the Dark Lord. We trust Hermione. We trust Moody. Is there anybody else that we trust that we add to that list?
Sirius.
Okay, so yeah, we trust Sirius. Right?
I do.
Yeah.
And everyone else is off the table.
Yeah. McGonagall.
Yeah, McGonagall's pretty trustworthy. Yeah.
Did you say Hagrid?
Yeah. There's another
Hagrid.
ad. Yeah, we'll throw Hagrid onto the list.
But I think there are, to me, caveats to a bunch of those people. Like Hagrid, I trust him with a lot of things. I think I even said it early on. Like I would trust him with my life, but not. I forget what I said last time.
You wouldn't lend him your car?
my car. That's
Or
right.
something?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
car keys. What? He's not good with secrets, but if you're self-aware enough to know, like, all right, don't tell Hagrid a secret. He might give it away.
Yeah.
But like, you can trust him in a lot of ways. And Moody, I feel like I trust him overall, but he's still a loose cannon. Like, turning kids into ferrets, and like, he kind of makes enemies, and the weird eye, and everyone's telling us to trust him, and we've seen some kindness out of him, but I still don't really understand him. So we're trusting him because we've been told to trust him, but I want him to still earn my trust, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But a lot of these other characters are earn the trust for me. So I want to see more out of Moody before I make my final decision on him.
On Ollivander too. Ollivander is an interesting character. He has two moments that I want to talk about. One is that he is in like a wand battle with another wand maker called Grigorovich, because Crumb's wand is a Grigorovich creation. Whose wands do you think are better, Ollivander's or Grigorovich's wands?
We don't know anything yet, John.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We don't know what happens. One's fatter.
Yeah.
One's skinnier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it interesting. It's off of like Ollivander is weighing the wands, but all he's doing is asking it to like blow out birds, flowers, pour wine. What is like? How is that anything? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, so because it was able to produce flowers out of the wand, yep, it's good.
That's a great question. That's such a great question.
And then Harry's just pouring out wine. Wow. Like, it's just so stupid.
It feels weird. I don't like this.
Really?
This put me on edge. Like, I'm like giving your wand to another person to examine. And polyjuice potion and whatever. I'm like, Ollivander. Like, it just feels weird. Like, why is he touching everyone's wand? And what is he actually looking for?
But it's not like he even did the same spell on all of them. Then I could see like, okay, it's like, all right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, did the flowers come out? And then, okay, like you guys are on the same page. It made no sense.
Yeah. Like, what is he really checking for? To me, felt like funny business. And if a wizard... He's asking Cedric, like, you keep an eye on this, you polishing this wand. First of all, Harry's a bad pet owner, bad wand owner. He doesn't know what he's doing with anything.
His finger smudge prints all over it.
But you're literally sending these
Cedric
wizards out to like fight to the death, you know, in theory at least. But you're not trusting them to know how to handle their own wands. Shouldn't that be also part of this whole thing? Like, well, if you're not good enough to keep your wand in good shape or know when something's wrong with it, you're probably not worthy to be competing in this tournament. So checking the wands felt like odd. I'm like, they're looking for something more here.
Well, I was wondering, each thing that like it sprouted out, is that for something? Was that like
representative?
Yeah.
I know.
I'm just reading too much into
it. Are you kidding me?
Me too.
Part of me trusts the process of this. Part of me is maybe a little skeptical. I think there's a part skeptical because Ollivander just seems like a jolly guy. Like when he was fitting Harry for his wand, they tried every wand in the shop and he just looked like he was having a more fun time. Every wand they tried, it was a real challenge for him. So Ollivander does seem like a kid in a candy shop with this kind of stuff. Like he just can't help himself but look at wands. So I kind of trust him in that sense. And I think I trust him too because this process it seems strange. Like he's putting out...
You want to trust him because you are Ollivander.
Yeah, because this is like my favorite part of this. I love I'll ask you guys another question after this on this note, but I love the idea that he knows what he's doing to the point where we don't even understand it, where we're looking and going like, what the heck is this guy doing? It doesn't make sense that he's like throwing flowers out of this wand, but it makes sense to Ollivander. He knows wand lore. So he's doing these things because this is the way that you really check for wands to see if there's like, maybe if he does Orchideus, which is the orchid spell, he pulls out orchids out of, or flowers out, which I'm sure are orchids. Maybe if they come out roses, he knows there's an issue with the spell, with the wand. He's like the baseline test behind it. If maybe the wand knows floor so much that it would perform a spell like maybe slightly different. It's like, to me, what this is like if you're a sniper and you're like sighting the scope.
Oh yeah, okay,
where you're like fine tuning the wand to make adjustments so it's like functioning properly, and you're making sure it doesn't have any cracks or anything like that. And I think he does that pretty well here. So I kind of trust the process. I like this process a little bit. One of my friends, when they were reading this a few years ago, when it got to this part, he was like, I just want more wand lore in these books. I just want to learn all the details about wands and what's going on with all this kind of stuff. So he was kind of like me, like I was obsessed with this kind of stuff. But here's a random question. Is there any point in the books that you're like, I want them to go into this in much more detail? Obviously apart from the major plot points, you're like, I just want to know everything about it. Is there like a specific avenue of this wizarding world that you're like, I want to know more about this?
I think for me, it's just the history stuff and the governance. So I want to know more about where Hogwarts came from and who started it and all that. Well, we kind of know who started it, but like the journey. I want to know about the Goblin rebellions. Like I want to know about everything that's happened in the past to get them to where they are now. And then the Ministry of Magic and the governance there with their embargoes and restrictions and other schools and I'm sure other wizarding governance organizations around the world. I kind of want to understand all of that big picture stuff. It doesn't actually impact the story, but maybe it will eventually.
Yeah.
But I find that all pretty fascinating.
The governance of the wizarding world. Yeah, that would be fascinating. Like to a point when half of these writers are writing like J.R.R. Tolkien writes this great creation, then he creates like another book that's like the politics of Middle Earth. And for most people reading right now, you're like, I would never want to read that book. But for this, if she came out with like a dense copy of like the politics of the wizarding world, I would buy it. I would be first in line. I would be the first reader of that. Oh my gosh, I would soak that up so fast. Doesn't matter what she would publish. Oh my gosh.
You're gonna have to fight him to get first in line.
What about you guys? Is there a part in these that you're like dying to get to or learn more about?
I kind of like I don't know if it would be like the hereditary of like the Muggle-born and then pure wizards and witches. Like, what does that look like? Where did that start? When did it start crossing over? What are the differences between a Muggle-born and a pure? Like, what does that look like? Just like the science, I guess, and the background of that.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, like how do you, like Hermione's amazing and she has 2 Muggle parents. Yeah. And then where down the line was there some kind of magic or she just like that seems
that would be fascinating where it actually originates. Why is it passed down?
And
is
it a recessive gene or is it a dominant gene? Like all this stuff.
The science mind over here. I love that. That'd be so fascinating to study.
Yeah.
What do you say?
No idea.
You just want to go on flourish and blots.
Yes. Now, when I read a more character driven, so like this whole dynamic between the trio right now, that I was like, I loved. Yeah. Because I love dissecting into why they react that way. Why is Ron reacting this way? I want to know the baseline of that and why Harry is reacting. I want to know the baseline of that, even Hermione, like how they're seeing things.
You like psychology.
Behind it all. That's where I sit.
One of the most popular Harry Potter questions that I see in the main Harry Potter Reddit is if you could read the books from another person's character, from another person's perspective other than Harry's, who would it be? So we'll talk about that way down the line, but I think that's such a fascinating question for we're only really in Harry's head.
Right.
Very rare moments that we come outside of that. But it'd be so fascinating to read it through Hermione's perspective or through Ron's or Dumbledore's or Moody's, whoever it is, like even Snape's. Really fascinated to get inside his mind.
Yeah.
But with the whole idea of wand lore too, Ollivander spends a few more minutes examining Harry's wand. Why do you think he does that? Is there any reason behind it?
He wants more time with it.
Oh yeah. I feel like he's fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Just because of the connection to Voldemort.
Yeah.
At least that's how I took it.
I feel like he knows something's up and he's just trying to be extra careful. Like it made me feel like this whole thing was a bit of a charade to take a look at Harry's wand.
Yeah.
And we also know you can see what the last spell a wand has done. So I thought he was going to try and sneak one of those in there and be like, did Harry do something to get his name in there? Let's see what kind of spells he's done. But I feel like it is interesting. Yeah. Like he probably is fascinated by this connection. But yeah, I kind of was thinking it was really just to look at Harry's and see what kind of sabotage could be taking place here.
Do you think he did anything to his wand?
If anything, only to enhance it, because I trust Ollivander.
Yeah,
I trust him too.
Yeah.
I mean, he poured wine out of his wand, so you gotta trust him.
That'd have been really funny if like McGonagall was in there and she's like catching the wine.
Don't let good wine go to waste.
I also wonder like if this is more ceremonial, like these days it doesn't matter, but it's just something you do during the Triwizard Quad Wizard tournament, where you check the wands, because back in the day there was less like consistency amongst wands, and it could be, you know,
it's a tradition.
Easily.
That's a good one. It's probably like a little tradition of this institution. I like it.
It's also interesting though, because he then asked them if you feel comfortable with your wand. Like, what if they said no?
Yeah.
Then what are they gonna do? He's gonna go into his shop and be like,
Make
"Oh,
a new
try
one?
this one."
Change it up right now.
I would just say that just to get a new wand, and then I'll have 2 wands.
You're allowed to have 2 wands.
Probably not. Do you think there's like a bond between the wand and the person? Do you think that there's something like Ollivander can't do great magic with any of the wands that he picks up? He can do some basic magic, but do you think the wand kind of learns along with you? Or do you think it's just an object that anybody could pick up anybody's wand and they could do magic with it?
Well, that's a great question, because that's what happened with Harry's wand, right? Which is why you're asking us this question.
Wait, with Harry's wand, when what?
When they found his wand and the dark mark.
The dark mark.
They were able to cast that, and that's pretty advanced magic. People can't just cast that mark, so maybe anybody could just pick up anybody's wand.
I also feel like when Lockhart used Ron's wand was broken already, but I feel like it wasn't this broken.
Yeah.
And because it wasn't Ron, like it would have worked a little bit longer, but because it was Lockhart trying to use it, I think it like blew up right then.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a degree of it, even more so with Fleur maybe because of the connection with the Vila hair. But for a lot of wands, I don't know if it would matter. Maybe that's the difference between low quality and high quality wands.
Yeah. The deeper the connection, the really high quality ones have a fingerprint scanner. So you're casting it and your finger's got to be right there. So it only casts it if your fingerprint's right there. Recognizes you. And then here's a last question for these chapters. What do you guys think of Sirius Black coming back to the castles?
Never a bad thing.
I'm nervous for him though.
Yeah.
It's like he was safe before, maybe to an extent. And
How
now
many people know that he is an animagus?
Dumbledore, Harry, Ron, Hermione, Lupin,
Snape.
Did Snape actually see it? I don't remember.
I'm asking.
That's an interesting one.
Because I'm just thinking
does.
He's kind of safe. Like he could turn into an animal whenever and hide. That's pretty great. I just feel better with him around than not around. And I trust him to stay hidden.
Yeah.
Like
true.
He must have so many tricks up his sleeve to like stay hidden.
The fact that he got out of Azkaban.
Yeah. But could he always be one step ahead? If you have someone with bad intentions with Moody's eye, you know, like seeing through whatever, or Harry could let him borrow the invisibility cloak or something. I don't know. But I feel better. I was reading that.
Does Moody know about Sirius Black? That he's good? That he's out?
Yeah, I think so. Because Sirius mentioned Moody as a very positive thing.
Yeah, I know. But
so I feel like there'd be a bond there. Like they knew each other. Like, yeah, it's hard to say, actually.
No one really believed. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not.
Because I'm wondering what you were saying. If Moody then sees him somehow, what will he think of it?
Yeah, if he didn't get the full scoop. It's hard to see what kind of communication is going on. I feel like there are a lot of discussions behind closed doors we just don't know about. And even at the end of the wand weighing where Dumbledore is talking to people and he's like, so who wants to, I forget what he said, stay for a drink or something along those lines.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's trying to have conversations with people afterwards and make it as casual as possible. Yeah. And then like everyone keeps walking away. And like, it felt like he was fishing for opportunities to like have a quick sidebar with people. So I have a feeling there are a lot of those conversations happening. But I'm assuming Moody is in the loop about everything. Could be wrong about that though.
Yeah. He seems very trustworthy at this point.
Wait, but how did you feel about Sirius coming back? It made you nervous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously I think it's better for Harry that he's around. And I feel like he's another person to like pick up on like dark magic or some weird things happening. And he's another protection for Harry. But I mean, yeah, like what else does he have? I guess he should come back, and if he dies, he dies. like what else is he doing? He's just hiding for the rest of his life, so you might as well protect the one guy that you're supposed to. Like, he's the godfather of, right?
Yeah.
So he's got nothing else going on, really.
He's just hanging out with Buckbeak. What, you guys found anything else in these chapters that you liked or wanted to make a note of? Otherwise, we'll just talk about favorite character in these two chapters and then favorite moment in these two chapters. I'll answer first. Hermione is my favorite in these, and that line that she says is my favorite, where she just goes, she just has a toast in her hands. Hello, want to go for a walk around the lake? I love that so much. I think that's so impactful for Harry. Such a good friend. I love that so much.
Yeah, I love that moment too.
Yeah, it's got to be Hermione for me.
Yeah. Floor, Jen?
I loved when she said, I'm not telling, I think you said this, I'm not telling him anything. Tell him yourself. It's the only way to sort this out.
So
Go
good.
Hermione.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I like how you read that too. That was good.
Yeah.
So we'll see as we go on. This is just going to get better and better, guys.
I know. I'm really excited to read on. I have not been this excited to read on yet.
Yes. We're only a third of the way through the books. And I like people on our subreddit are so excited for us right now because this is really when I keep saying this in different after every podcast. This is when the books really take off. But the books just get so enamoring from this point on. Like, you cannot stop reading, which we're going to have to stop reading.
Yeah,
exactly. I know. Even like I was so mad that I spoiled because I read the chapter titles to you and you're like, the 4 champions. I was like, no, my God, I shouldn't have done that. The first podcast, 2 podcasts ago, you're like, what chapters should we're reading next? And I was like, oh, here they are. And I read the 4 chapters, not thinking anything. And one of the chapter titles was the 4 champions. And Danny's like, the 4 champions. And I was like, I went home like, no, why?
Nah, that stuff was all good.
Yeah,
I feel like she left her chapter pictures, her chapter titles, even writing on the back of the book and the covers. It feels like J.K. Rowling is totally down with minor spoilers through at least half the book.
Yeah. Sometimes that keeps it reading.
But that's why I know it's about to get real juicy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's one thing that I found interesting. I could just be reading way too into this.
Ooh, nice.
But the wands, right? When he tests the wands, each wand has like a personality trait of like their owner. Like Floor, she's beautiful, Vila, flowers, right? Yeah. So like it's saying like that he did the spell and a bunch of flowers came out of the wand tip, and it was from her grandmother Avila. And then Cedric is a male unicorn, so a handsome, strong, like animal. And then Crumb is a, what does it say? It's thicker than one usually sees, and 10 and quarter. So I'm thinking that like awkward, like it's awkward to hold, and he walks awkward, and then birds come out of it, which is flying. Tweeting birds fly at the end, and he's really good at flying because he's a Quidditch. And then Harry's kind of stumps me a little bit because I didn't read that one, but I just thought that was so interesting.
Wait, what is Harry's?
His was long, so where is it?
Katie from the UK here, our watcher, says there were no chapter illustrations in the UK editions.
Oh, that would have been better.
So much better.
He made a fountain of wine shoot out of it and handed it back to Harry.
Harry's drunk.
Fountain of wine.
I don't know. To me, it's like aging. Age. Yeah, exactly. Something that ages better or matures with age. So I just thought that was really interesting.
That's a great little character study there, Jen. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll end with that. Anyway, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Hey, just so everyone knows kind of what we're doing, we are wanting to send you guys bookmarks and stickers so that you can put in different books in bookstores. So when someone goes and buys a Harry Potter book, they can pull out this first-time reader's experience and this bookmark and use it as they track their journey through Harry Potter, and they can kind of just follow along with us. So let me know if you want any bookmarks, and then you can go spreading the first-time readers good news to all the first-time readers of Harry Potter.